Chapter 4, The Invention of Dreams. Hugo was still nervous about leaving the station, but he took a deep breath and headed downstairs to the vast subway system that snaked beneath the city like hidden rivers. Here's a picture of Hugo going downstairs. Here's a picture of Hugo by the train tracks. Here's a picture of Hugo going into a train. Here's a picture of Hugo looking out the window. Here's a picture of him leaving the train. Here's a picture of where he is going. Here's a picture of him walking. Here's a picture of him going into the bookstore. Hugo entered the lobby, where a small woman sat at a big desk. He asked to use the library, and after looking him up and down in a disapproving manner, she said, "No, no? You're too small and too dirty, and you must be accompanied by an adult," she said. "Goodbye." Hugo just looked at her. He glanced at his hands and his clothes and realized that he hadn't thought about the way he looked in a long time. Hugo knew the woman was being unfair, but he didn't know what to do about it. He was trying to figure out what to say when he thought he heard his name being called. "Hugo? Is that you?" Here's a picture of who was calling Hugo. "A teen!" Hugo ran to him. "What are you doing here? I was just about to ask you the same thing." The small woman at the desk looked at Etienne and said, "You know this filthy child? Madame Marie, this is my friend Hugo." She pushed her black-rimmed glasses to the top of her nose and answered the phone, which had just rung. "Sorry about your job at the movie theater," Hugo said. "It worked out well, actually. When I was fired, I had just started classes here, and they were able to give me some work in the offices. I'm studying to be a cameraman." Hugo glanced at Etienne's eye patch and Etienne smiled. "Having an eye patch actually makes it easier to look through a camera. I don't have to close one eye like everyone else." Etienne tapped his eye patch and said, "Now tell me, what in the world brings you here?" "I need to find something in the library. Can you help me?" "Follow me," said Etienne. Hugo didn't look at Madame Marie, but he was very happy to walk by her as they headed to the library. The library was on the second floor. It was clean and orderly with rows of perfectly placed shelves, which seemed untouchable. In the center of the room was a large painting that caught Hugo's eye. He didn't know what it meant, but he liked it. Here's a picture of the picture. Etienne helped Hugo navigate the card catalog so he could find the book he needed and then brought him to the correct shelf. Etienne stood on his toes, pulled the book off the shelf, and handed it to Hugo, who sat right where he was and opened it. Etienne sat down next to him. "You know, one of my teachers wrote that book. Will you tell me what you need for it now?" But Hugo couldn't talk. The book was called The Invention of Dreams, the story of the first movie ever made. It was written by René Tabard a year earlier in 1930. Hugo opened the beginning of the book and read, "In 1895, one of the very first films ever shown was called A Train Arrives in the Station," which was nothing more than what the title suggests, a train coming into a station. But when the train came speeding toward the screen, the audience screamed and fainted because they thought they were in danger of being run over. No one had ever seen anything like it before. Here's a picture of the train. Hugo flipped through the pages of the book. There were images of men playing cards, people leaving a factory each one a still from an early movie. Hugo continued, turning pages, and then he saw what he had been hoping to find. Here's a picture of the moon. His father's favorite movie was called A Trip to the Moon. The filmmaker Georges Méliès began his career as a magician, and he owned a theater of magic in Paris. This connection with magic helped him immediately understand what the new medium of film was capable of. He was among the first to demonstrate that film didn't have to reflect real life. He quickly realized that film had the power to capture dreams. Méliès is widely credited with performing the substitution trick, which made it possible for things to appear and disappear on screen. As if by magic, this changed the face of movies forever. Here's a picture of one of his movies. Here's a picture of the woman disappearing. A Trip to the Moon. Méliès' most famous film followed the group of explorers as they went to the moon, fought the moon men, and returned home with a captive to great acclaim. If one day, for in the future, mankind is truly able to fly to the moon, we will have Georges Méliès and the movies to thank for helping us understand that if our dreams are big enough, anything is possible. Unfortunately, Georges Méliès died sometime after the Great War, and many, if not all, of his films are lost. Died? He's not dead, Hugo said out loud. Who isn't dead? Said a teen who had been reading over Hugo's shoulder. Georges Méliès. He runs a toy booth in the train station. A teen laughed. I'm not kidding, Hugo said, and he's Isabelle's godfather.
If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.